My line of the episode was, "You don't know Jack," which was Cody talking to us, the audience. Very odd moment within it. I'm going to get into it. I have also this week made notes. In my little llama notebook with my Hello Kitty Christmas pen, I have made just a few little notes so I don't get too derailed. You know, I can kind of chat on a bit too much sometimes. So just little bullet points that I wanted to mention. So get yourself a hot drink. There's quite a lot in this to go through and quite a lot of opinions that I had. Last week's episode, I really spoke about my opinions on polygamy as a full concept because, to be honest, the episode was dull. And so if you watch that video, I've got a whole playlist on my channel. If you're on my channel playlists and you click on Sister Wives, they'll all come up. And I haven't done any other seasons. If you're new to this channel, I'm only doing season 20. On my videos, I don't go scene for scene on every single thing. I just get straight to the meat of the episode and then chat about it. So when I spoke about episode 3 in that video, I just broadly spoke about my opinions on polygamy, whether I think it can work or not, and everything to do with that. So I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee in my pumpkin mug. Let's get into it. So we have Mary really had nothing to do in this episode, like last week. So she's talking about dating. She's gone to her friend Jen's bike shop and she's talking about dating. And then she talks a bit about she was raised in polygamy and the Latter-day Saints church, and they don't date. So she didn't date Cody. It's an arranged marriage, but they don't say it's an arranged marriage. So you meet him, you meet the families, know each other through the church, and you get to talk to them, and you might be able to say, like, I don't get along with him, I don't like him. So it's not like the first time you ever see him is at the altar on your wedding day. She knew him before that, but that kind of courting, dating really doesn't happen because you don't hang out one-on-one. You hang out with each other's families and then with friends as like chaperones, but you don't have that one-on-one time. So she was saying, this is mad to me, because when I got with him at the beginning 33 years ago, I didn't date him. So now I'm dating. It's so bizarre. I've never dated in my life because I just wasn't raised like that. So that's all we got about Mary, to be honest with you, was that. We then move on to Christine and Janelle owned a business together. And Christine alludes to this. But like everything in the Sister Wives world that infuriates me, it's vague. So we don't know what this business is that they own together. Janelle and Christine ran it together for years, a business. That's all we know. And there's no mention of Cody being involved in the business. And now that Janelle, she has bought this land with her daughter, she's going to live on the land and they're going to have a flower farm. She doesn't want to be in the business anymore. So they're separating it, and then they're now going to become competition to each other in business. What kind of business is this? I think the episode was trying to make out, has there been some kind of fallout or anything? No, I think it's just because they live in separate states. So how could they possibly get together to run this business together when they need to be coordinating things? But we have no idea what this business is. Very vague. And then we didn't really hear anything more about either of them. For the episode, there was a nice moment. Janelle and her family went to cut down a Christmas tree, and that was sweet and everything. But really the meat of the episode was between Cody and his brother. Now, Cody was born into polygamy, so his father had many wives, and the age difference between Cody and his brother, I am sorry, but what? 19 years between them. That is insane, but of course makes sense because Cody's dad had wives and then had children with them. And so you keep marrying, a different batch of wives, you're going to get a load more batch of children all the time. Cody himself has 18 children. The whole thing, it's so wild to me, the polygamy thing. And that's why we watch it. That's why it's so fascinating, Sister Wives. And now the breakdown of it does seem, I'm just going to say this, a bit like they've been lying the whole time. So then you think, well, is this the truth now? I'm not quite sure. So Cody said 15 years ago, Christine came to him and said, I hate polygamy. I hate living like this. And all the wives have kind of said, yeah, I haven't liked polygamy. We were trying to put on a brave face and say that it was. So you were lying to the audience then, though, weren't you? You were saying to us it was great and you build these massive families because each woman has like 6 or 7 kids, and then this man's got 4 wives, and so your children have so many siblings and you all help raise the children together and you put all your money together so you can buy like really great property or really great land, so there's no downside to it. It's fantastic. But now that they've separated, they're all saying, oh, well, I hated it from the start. Oh, the last 15 years have been hell. but you weren't portraying that to us on the show. So it's quite difficult as someone watching the show, because obviously you feel sympathy for these people because they said, like, I've been living in struggle and misery is what they said this episode. But you also feel, but you went on national TV and said, polygamy's great, everyone should live it. It's a fantastic lifestyle. Just look how great our family is. Look at these wonderful, massive Christmases. Like, they always have these amazing Christmases. And look how many children are here and how joyous it is. It really is an incredible experience, and it should be legalized, and we're going to lobby the government. But now you're saying it's hell? And Cody then on that same point makes the comment, you haven't seen Jack. This is in a sit-down interview, straight to the camera, straight talking to us, the audience, saying we don't know anything that's gone on with this separation, that it's a lot worse than what's been shown on Sister Wives, and that's tame, and that we have no idea what he has been through in these separations because it hasn't been on the show. Then what's the point of me sitting watching the show? I found that a bit irritating. Like, it's a bit of a slap in the face for us. We're on season 20. Okay, like, a lot of your life has been filmed, a lot of it has, and so to say, oh, you haven't seen nearly anything, well, we've seen a lot. We've seen 20 seasons by now. So I just found that comment very bizarre. But he was talking to his brother, who's 19 years younger than him, not married, and has no plans of going into polygamy, even though he was raised in polygamy. And Cody says it's a struggle. It's a constant, non-stop struggle. And he says, do you think polygamists are actually happy? And his brother said, no, I don't. And they both agreed that no one in polygamy is happy, that it doesn't actually work, that you do it because you're in the Mormon religion, but you're not happy. And I can understand it from Cody's perspective, actually, how you can never satisfy anyone, so you're always dissatisfied yourself. Like, if you have 4 wives and 18 children, you can't get round to see everyone. You can't give everyone quality equal time. You especially can't do that with 18 children. You can't dedicate a day of the week to them. So of course you can't. So then everyone is a little bit annoyed with you, a little bit angry with you. And then you always feel a bit uninspired because everyone's like cranky with you. I kind of do see it from his perspective, but that's what I would say, like, that's why I think polygamy doesn't work. And this is kind of what he's been saying as well, although he calls their jealousy insecurities, which I did point on this last episode when I said Mary has spoken before about it's a sin to feel jealousy within, like, the Mormon religion. You should never feel jealous of your sister wives, but jealousy is a human emotion, so of course you're going to be jealous of them. And it doesn't call it jealousy, he calls it insecurities. And then jealousy, for him, he still sees as a terrible emotion that you shouldn't really feel. And it's the women's, they're insecure. Robin's just so much more attractive than them. She is younger than them. They believe Christine's the youngest wife, and Robin is 6 years younger than Christine. So, and the other 3 wives are around the same age. So, he's got this woman, she's 6 years younger, she's very beautiful, and their insecurity shone through and ruined the marriages. Whereas I would say it's just jealousy, because how can you share your time equally? And then later on the episode, he does point on that, because he says the unfairness of Robin's house was a big part, he thinks, of the separations, and he's never said that before. So Robin lives in a mansion, basically. She's moved from one mansion to another mansion, but she lived in a bigger house than all the wives, and that was resentment. And I believe Janelle put in some money into Robin's house, and he said, I wanted to safely keep Robin and the other wives, they couldn't handle it. And I think it was just unfair, and that's what he said. There is an unfairness with polygamy. When you give one wife something, the other wives go, well, why can't I have that as well? And I totally agree. Like, she was living in this beautiful, gorgeous home. She's living in another gorgeous home now. Can I just say the shots of Flagstaff? Oh my God, it's my dream. Small American town. Oh my God, love it. Anyway, I'll get back to that in a minute. I'd be staying in Flagstaff. I think it's gorgeous. I think, like, Robin and Cody have got it right. Staying there is stunning. But with Robin, there was resentment that why is she living in a much bigger, nicer house than all the rest of us, and we're either renting, or Janelle at one point went to live in an RV. How's this happening to us? Why is she, so much better kept than us? And he admits that in this episode. He said, yeah, she was. Yeah, they couldn't handle that. But he doesn't say why he kept her better than them, why he favoured her over them. But that, of course, that is unfair. And I feel that's what we've all felt, is that was the real breakdown, was Robin's house. And when they moved from Vegas, Robin getting a much better house than all the other women, and there being a huge unfairness with that. Mary's got a very beautiful home as well, but he wasn't spending time at Mary's house. There was nothing really to be jealous of between his house and Mary's, because I remember when Mary moved in, she was like, I've got an elevator in my house. Like, it was a huge house where they could have had all the family gatherings. If they didn't want it at each other's homes, they really could have, utilised Mary's home to have it there, but Cody just didn't want to be around Mary. This I just noted, Cody's dad was married to Janelle's mum, and that's so odd how I find how they're all connected, that Cody's dad and Janelle's mum were married, and Cody and Janelle were married. And so it's just so bizarre to me that they're so connected like that. And so Janelle and Cody aren't siblings or anything like that. Janelle's mum was previously married, had Janelle. They got divorced, and then she entered into a plural marriage with Cody's father. And so your mother-in-law is also your stepmother. Your father-in-law is also your stepfather. It's just such a bizarre concept, isn't it? The whole thing. And then they were mentioning the Duggars, which they're another famous polygamy family, and they have again rallied the government to make polygamy legal and everything. And that man has 3 wives, and they're all still seems happily married, but he married twin sisters. Very bizarre. So when it began, he married 2 women, not twins. So one of them was a twin, but he didn't marry her twin at that time. It was her and another woman, and he dated them at the exact same time and married them the same year, so that it would be fair, because normally you have first wife, second wife, you court as you go along, whereas he was a Mormon, and he just decided, I think it would be fairer if I married these wives in the same year and I dated them alongside each other, so we'd be more of a unit. And I think also so resentment doesn't go, oh, she had a better wedding than mine. But then years later, one of his wives, so he was just him happily getting along with his 2 wives. They had 20 kids together. And then he all of a sudden marries one of his wives, twin sister as well, joins them. And they've been married for a really long time now. And they all say it really does work, their relationship. Altogether, he's got 25 kids. 5 of them are stepchildren. But how bizarre, they didn't mention that. I had to look it up. I Wikipedia'd him because I was like, oh yeah, I remember they mentioned him in another episode. They went and met him, and he was really an example of how polygamy works. And the women were saying they feel really respected in the relationship with him, and that it works. That dynamic somehow works. And then I looked on Wikipedia and I was like, sorry, twin sister? If I had a sister and then Dom's with me, and then he's like, oh, tonight, it's your sister's. What? This world of polygamy is just wild to me. So they were saying he can make it work, and Janelle was saying, I think polygamy does work. I think it can work. I've seen it work. It does work. This man is an example of that, but just Cody mismanaged his wives. And I think we can translate mismanaged his wives as favoured Robin, the youngest wife. But I just found it so weird when I looked up that, he married twins, and that Janelle's mum is with Cody's dad, and Janelle and Cody were married and had a load of children together. It's so odd, isn't it? And I think with Mary, she has another thing like that. Is it her sister married one of Cody's brothers? So they're so linked. So even when they get divorced, they're still so linked to each other through their families, which I found that interesting, because they've all kind of walked away from each other, apart from Cody and Robin are still together. But then I did think it was interesting how their families are still so interlinked, with Mary's sister being married to Cody's brother. And I think his brother said such a great thing, is he said to his brother, are you going to do polygamy? I don't think you are. His brother said, absolutely not. Life is complicated enough in monogamy. Why would you want to complicate it more? And Robin made an interesting point as well, because she said she's now living in monogamy, and that's not what she planned for her life. And she said, I really wanted to live my religion. And so that's why also I think she can't ever celebrate that she's living in monogamy. She could say, you know what? It's easier living in monogamy with him. The other 3 wives, I didn't get along with them. That's it. done. But I think the reason she never celebrates it and she has to say, I'm miserable, I didn't want this, is because it goes against their religion. The separation, divorce, and then entering into a polygamous relationship and then being monogamous. It's not their religion. It's not the ideal. And so then she might feel bad, and people at the church might say to her, like, you can't celebrate this, the breakdown of this. They keep calling it plural marriage, don't they? That's what they call it in this. You breakdown of this plural marriage is bad for Mormonism, because we want people to see a positive side of plural marriage and enter into it. And so don't ever celebrate it on the show. So that might be something that she's thinking as well, because a lot of people would say, you know, why is she miserable with him? She's got what she wants. She's living with him. He was spending all his time at her house anyway. So, you know, why are they not living like a happily ever after? And I think it's because she probably just can't celebrate it because it goes against her like religious principle that she has. But I thought his brother was a like great point. Like, it's difficult enough keeping one person happy as a like, and then you're going to add 3 other people to that dynamic and have a load of women. Like, no. But obviously that's not why Mormons do it. Mormons don't do it because they think it's going to make them happy. They do it because it's to have as many children as they can, and that's what they think that they should do. You know, go for good, fruitful, multiply. That's why they do it, don't they? So it's about having as many kids as you can, like having an age gap between your sons of 19 years. You know, a woman, it's very highly unlikely that a woman can have a baby at 20 and then have another baby. The same woman has another baby at 40. It's highly unlikely that a woman would be able to get that kind of age gap between her children. Whereas obviously with men, they can go on having children forever. And so that's why the men in Mormonism have multiple wives, and it's not the other way around with women having multiple wives. And also the men in Mormonism are the leaders, and that's something Cody picked upon, is that his dad was like really masculine, and that's why he thinks his relationships worked out, and that Cody compromised too much in his relationships, and that's why they broke down. He also said he still hates Christine, and I don't know how many years has it been, like 2 years since him and Christine got divorced. They were never married, but you know what I mean. And he hates her. He doesn't want to think about her. He doesn't want to even say her name. This is a woman he's been married to, I think, for like 30 years. And he still doesn't like her. Also, our children. That was an interesting element. So online, people have this thing that when Cody talks about his children with the other wives, he will say Christine's children, Janelle's children, and then Mary's. And with Robin, he says our children. And that the only time he will ever say our children or my child is with Robin's children. He doesn't say it about the other wives. And everyone said that's such a weird thing. And his brother pulled him up on it on camera. If I was Cody, I'd been like, what are you doing? Cody said, I don't like Christine, and he was talking about that, but I still have to interact with Christine's children. And his brother went, your children. And Cody went, yeah, our children. His brother went, yeah, they're your children. I was Cody, I'd have been like, pipe down. And in polygamy, this is something I was thinking about as well. You really only need one of your children to do it, to carry it on throughout the generations. So Cody's father was a polygamist. So then he had loads of kids. And then now Cody, one of his sons decided, I'm going to be a polygamist. That was Cody. And now Cody has 18 children. At the moment, none of his children are in polygamy, but he has children of varying ages. So he only really needs one of his children to decide, okay, I'll go into polygamy. And then the line of polygamy carries on. So it's like a never-ending thing, really. And the likelihood that one of your 18 kids is going to go into polygamy, I feel like that's quite high because of the sheer volume of children you're bringing into the world. It's like Mormonism, polygamy, like almost never ends. Like, because you have so many kids, you put out more kind of options of that happening, and also staying within the religion. Like if you have one child, and then that child, say Mormonism is your whole life, and then your one child says, I'm not a Mormon anymore, that's it. The line in your family of Mormonism carrying on through the generations has just ended with that one child. But if you have 18 kids, there's quite a high chance that one of the 18 kids is going to stay a Mormon. So it is kind of a religion, the way it's set up with a man having multiple wives. And I know loads of other religions have polygamy as well. It really keeps the religion going as well. So maybe that's another point. I always say it's so they can have loads of kids, which I think it is that. But I think also it's to keep the religion going, which they never really talk about. They just say it was a teaching in our church. We won't say what church, but it's just a teaching That was it. They don't really say, yeah, it's about keeping Mormonism alive for the future generations. It's about bringing more children into the kingdom of God. Like, they don't really go into that. I have been talking for a long time, as always, in these videos, but there's just so many different topics you can kind of talk about, and like reflections upon life more broadly and whether you think these things could work or not. So I'm going to end it here. This episode was a little bit, but we still had some stuff to talk about. Tell me what you thought of the episode. I have seen the preview for the next episode, Christmas, which I'm excited for. You can see they filmed it last Christmas. So, and someone left a comment in my video saying they've been spotted filming now. Right now they're filming. So there will definitely be another season, because I had my suspicions that this might be the last season, and that like 20, it's like a good number to end it on. We've had 20 seasons. It sounds good. That then TLC might be like, yeah, that's enough now. Because when we met him, it was a man with 4 wives, a man with 3 wives courting the 4th wife. Now it's a man with 1 wife. And then there's 3 other women living their independent lives, whereas they're obviously going to carry it on. And the only way I think they could really carry it on and have enough for the episodes is if they start delving into the lives of the 18 children. A lot of the older children have children of their own now, so delving into their family dynamics for something interesting within the show. But then it's just not really sister wives anymore, is it? Like, you might as well just call it the Brown family, because that's their last name. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you. Leave a comment down below and tell me what you think, and I will see you very soon for another video.